Welcome back, YouTubers, to our Friday Night Smackdown, a well-anticipated Smackdown if you are a Daniel Bryan fan. We are the British Fist, of course. I am Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me, bobbling away in that corner there, it's none other than NJ.
What's up?
Indeed. Make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on Smackdown and anything that happened in this show down in that comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yes, and the first thing I want to say is make sure you tune in next Tuesday for our Smackdown review, as it will be live on Tuesday, so expect the Smackdown review to be moved from Friday to Tuesday, and a Q&A will be going up on Friday instead. So that's the way we're going to be doing it that week. It makes some sense, so there we go. Right, so the first thing they do is they recap Survivor Series. They recap the Henry show match of Survivor Series and the post-match attack, and they say, what's next for the World Heavyweight Championship? And that was the thing that I was most looking forward to from this show, and overall from Survivor Series, the whole what's going to happen with the World Heavyweight Championship thing.
That is the big question, because everyone's thinking, is Mark Henry going to be there? Is he not going to be there? What's happening to the World Heavyweight? And to be honest, that was the draw for this Smackdown, just so it could be answered and show what they could do with it. Yes,
and we soon got an answer in the opening segment, because we opened with Mark Henry, and he comes out on crutches, and I must admit, it was a bit weird seeing him on crutches and injured. But he says that the people are happy to see him in pain. We weren't happy. We don't want you to be in pain, brother. But it's not the way you respect a champion. He's hurt but not broken. The champion fights through pain, so he's basically a fighting heel champion.
And who the hell does things like that? God, man!
Yeah, I know. Who the hell does things like that? Mark Henry. Anyway, it's all good. And then out comes Big Show, and he talks about Henry knowing that he was losing the World Heavyweight Championship, so he had to get DQ'd. Just going the whole thing about Survivor Series. So I guess the exchange between them two was pretty decent. I'll give it that. It was a decent way to open the show.
It's good that they continue in it between Big Show and Mark Henry. Big Show having his say, Mark Henry having his say, adding more to their future match.
Yes, well, they have a future pay-per-view match. We don't know yet. But what happened is Big Show knocks out Mark Henry, and then Daniel Bryan comes out and cashes in Money in the Bank.
Yes, he's finally done it.
Yeah, Bryan pings Henry and celebrates, but then Teddy Long comes out and tells Daniel Bryan that the cash-in doesn't count because Henry wasn't able to compete, which is the rules. That is, whatever you say, Daniel Bryan marks out there, hate me if you will, but that is the rule. The guy has to be able to compete in order for you to win the match. So technically there was no match, technically there was no cash-in. That's the rules.
It would have been good to have got it done over with. It could have been done at the Survivor Series, but it could have got done now, but they've blown both.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's still a nice way, in my opinion, to kind of tease this. You see Daniel Bryan with the World Heavyweight Championship, a nice way to sort of tease it. It kind of got me excited, even though I read the spoilers. It was a nice way to open the show. It was pretty exciting. But we get the news that there's going to be a #1 contender 4-way match later on in the night. Ray Barrett versus Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton versus new entrant Daniel Bryan. And the winner will face Mark Henry on the live Smackdown next week. Not on the pay-per-view, which I was a little bit but live on the Smackdown next week, so I'm looking forward to that.
It should be a good faithful way.
Yeah, and the match, of course, at Smackdown as well. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, overall, a very exciting opening segment. It's a good way to open Smackdown, in my opinion. It's just a shame we had the filler in the middle here, really, isn't it?
It was.
We begin with Justin Gabriel versus Hunico, and a couple of things here. Where's Hunico's faction? I don't know. And I also find it kind of funny how Justin Gabriel has now turned into a jobber, and he never gets any TV time. And my question now also is, what do you do if Hunico, now Sin Cara, is injured? Is he just going to be filler? Is he going to have a feud with someone, maybe? If he's going to feud with Justin Gabriel, we've seen the win clean after 4.5 minutes.
The way I see it is that I think they should bring back the faction members that disappeared, have them and make a tag team, because that'd be a good bit of thing for when Sin Cara does return. Yeah,
the crowd really went into this match either. This is a effect of the writers having to change things at the last minute after Sin Cara's injury, and it was filler, wasn't it? Really, I feel sorry for Justin Gabriel though. I really thought he could be a good guy for WWE, but now they're just jobbing him out.
Well, weeks and weeks have passed, months even have passed the time when Daniel Bryan Justin Gabriel left his tag team, and they've just had no idea for him.
No, they really haven't, and it's a shame in my opinion. But they get a nice little video package of WWE touring Europe, and it's good because we're in Europe, so we get to hear the WWE's the WWE Superstars' opinions of London, Manchester. Bit of filler, but it's Europe-based, so I'm going to let it off.
And how they get crazy, which makes me go crazy, which makes them crazier, which makes me crazier.
Yeah, which makes the British Fist even more crazier because of the combined craziness of the two of us.
There you go. Santino!
Yeah, exactly. Santino starting for the win. And, we promised you guys, the Tea Time guys, on this episode of SmackDown review, And the Tea Time guys, unlike WWE, do not deliver. We will deliver that promise. So take it away, the British Face Tea Time guys. So we're going to analyse the next Divas segment. Thank God we watched this week's Smackdown, NJ. We had 5 Divas in this segment.
Aha, what a good match it was.
Yes, indeed. Alicia Fox on commentary, coming down to the ring to stop those Divas.
They played the part so very well.
Yes, and AJ and Caitlyn having a little scuffle there at the end was like, very, very, very good.
AJ got what's coming to her. Rogue says, Divas are doomed. Good luck.
So after that lovely Tea Time segment by the British Fish Tea Time guys, who really do make those Divas segments tolerable, don't they?
Very much so.
Whoa, just watching those guys back. It's a shame, just a shame. But there we go, the Divas segments. Making them more entertaining as we go. We find the news that Tuesday Smackdown is going to be hosted by none other than Mick Foley. What do you think about this?
Okay, Mick Foley's last involvement in WWE was on Raw when he did that whole Rock and Cena thing. I'm thinking, to be honest, he's done his thing on Raw now. Maybe he should wait till another Raw thing comes up. They'll come on SmackDown where he doesn't really have anything going there for him, not really. I
can kind of see why they're doing it though. You know, it's a special live SmackDown. They're trying to give it more of a special feeling and a draw to the fans. I imagine that's why they're doing it. So I can understand it. Mick Foley being special guest host is just someone that people like. So I can understand that, I guess. We also get the news that the main event next week will be a steel cage match between Mark Henry and the winner of that Fatal 4-Way for the number 1 contendership. Almost feels like oh, sorry, not for the number 1 contendership, for the World Heavyweight Championship. I apologise. It seems like they're kind of hyping it as if it's a fucking pay-per-view, don't they? Rather than a fucking SmackDown.
They are trying to, but as Dean Long said, it's a special SmackDown to them, so I guess they're going to try their best to make it a somewhat decent show.
Yes. Ziggler and Swagger versus Ryder and Sheamus was our next tag team match. I believe this was our main event. This segment went on for a long time, and the first thing I noticed from this segment was it's a shame how, because of Christian's injury, that Sheamus is now, it's unfortunately kind of filler at the moment. It's kind of disappointing, especially as I feel about his rise to the top was actually going pretty well.
Well, with the Christian Sheamus thing, I'm kind of glad that it's finished now, and maybe Sheamus should find a different route. And hopefully, in the next few weeks, SmackDown will start booking him in a different direction so he can move away from Christian.
Yeah, I do hope that too. And also, this match went 13.5 minutes. You know, I usually like long matches, but I do feel this match went on a smidge too long. I lost interest in it after about 10 minutes. It wasn't a badly worked match or anything. It's just that I felt the segment lasted a little bit too long, and it was really a focus on Ziggler and Ryder, as we saw Ryder get the pin on Dolph Ziggler, which probably means that he's going to get a future pay-per-view title match, I imagine, for the US belt.
Well, I do look at this. Swagger's not going anywhere, and it's Ziggler that is actually going to be going somewhere, because I think he's had the look, he's held the championship before.
He's perfection.
He's perfection. So I think he's got the package here that WWE are going to use somewhere in the main events.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably why they're going to make him drop it to Zack Ryder, who is over. I'm sorry, I don't like it, but he's now pretty much over, isn't he, with the crowd? So there we go. We then get a backstage segment between Daniel Bryan and AJ. AJ, my crush. And Wade Barrett comes in and calls AJ a 14-year-old girl. That was my mark-out moment of the night.
This segment here was quite boring for me. It was just saying, good luck in your match, good luck in your match. And I was just like, yeah, he doesn't need luck and all that.
Yeah.
But then Wade Barrett, even though he didn't really have the involvement with Daniel Bryan anymore, shame, he did save the segment for me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're associating Daniel Bryan again with AJ, with Divas. I'm not really liking this too much, but I guess it kind of makes sense that they maybe go with AJ because she's kind of a nerd, and they put Daniel Bryan down as a nerd. I don't like it being with Divas again. It's not really the best way to bring him to the main event. Remember what it did to him last time? They made him drop the US title, and he had Divas trying to give him personality.
I really don't see what the WWE are doing here, but maybe they'll come up with something later on.
No, well, let's just go on to the next match. Ted DiBiase versus Heath Slater. What felt like another filler match until Jinder Mahal comes on the Tron and cuts a promo about the fact that he doesn't like the fact that DiBiase is hanging around with commoners in the DiBiase posse, the thing that he's had going for him for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, again, the match itself, it was going to be a boring filler one. So I think adding the Jinder Mahal thing added something to the start, which made it interesting. Shows a direction of Ted DiBiase, so it gave you a direction of what's going to be happening. So I thought it was effective.
The question is, though, do we care? Because we saw a couple of, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, DiBiase squashed Jinder Mahal in like a minute. So why would I care about this feud? I've already seen DiBiase squashed.
Well, the reason I've got my care for this thing, because when we have Ted DiBiase and Jinder Mahal feuding away, there'll be Cody feuding away, and in a few weeks, month time, you'll have Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes actually done their feuding and able to face each other.
They're both in filler feuds right now, so I guess they'll probably come together at some point. And hopefully WWE will do it right this time. God damn, they're making Ted DiBiase a babyface. That is the thing they got to do. And also, it comes just after news because Ted DiBiase got a win in a match which I thought went very long, considering he was against Heath Slater. He should be mopping the floor with Heath Slater. He sucks. But it comes just as the news that Vince McMahon is talking about rewarding people who can get over uniquely. And he's done it with Zack Ryder, and now it seems like he's going to be doing the same thing with Ted DiBiase. He's got this whole DiBiase posse thing going on. So it looks like if you can get yourself over uniquely, you're going to get a push.
Well, with Ted, I hope so. He does get somewhere because, again, he's had a good build-up in the past. Yeah. Just keep relive that again.
Yeah, and I think they really dropped the ball with Ted DiBiase, and they need to start building it again. So there we go. Another great moment for me as a Cody Rhodes mark. We had an interview segment with Cody Rhodes talking about how he's free from the mask, and he talks about Booker T as well. The filler feud is going to happen, and Cody Rhodes on the mic in an interview segment.
Well, there's many people against him without a mask, but to be honest, when I saw him without it, I thought, go on you, yeah. Now he's actually accepted it, he likes it. I'm looking for good things to come from him.
Am I the only one that liked the mask? Really? No one else seemed to like the mask other than me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my markdom for Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes was in a #1 contendership match, so you knew who I was vying for in this main event. Barrett versus Cody Rhodes versus Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton in a #1 contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship shot at next week's SmackDown in a steel cage match with Mark Henry. Even though Mark Henry was injured and he's supposed to perform 5 days later, that's one thing that kind of like, okay, me a little bit. He'd come out in a leg brace and an ankle brace and he's supposed to wrestle 5 days later.
I guess maybe his injury is not as bad as it looks.
He couldn't compete tonight.
Well, yeah. But,
I don't know, just a bit of logic there.
But this match, the way I look at it, we have Orton and Barrett, who are in a feud.
Yeah.
And then you have Cody Rhodes, who's, again, had that thing with Booker T on Raw. And you have Daniel Bryan, who is Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and he's also been getting involved with the Big Show Mark Henry feud. So really, we're looking at this as smart marks, and we're thinking, well, even though we read the spoilers, only one guy's going to be winning this, and this is Daniel Bryan. The match went about 12 minutes. It wasn't a bad match. I thought it was pretty good how they sort of combined, Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett and Orton. It kind of carried on Wade Barrett and Orton's storyline quite well, in my opinion, while also allowing Daniel Bryan to pick up the win. So Daniel Bryan is the new #1 contender. You know, thoughts on this quickly, because this is kind of a big moment, really.
When I look at this, I see that it was Orton who I thought was going to pick up the win in a few places.
Yeah.
We had Wade Barrett always going after Orton. I like that. Yeah. And the winner, again, I think it added up pretty nicely, because even though I don't like that he's the new #1 contender, hopefully he'll just cash in and lose, or whatever's going to happen with him later.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got a guaranteed #1 contendership, and he's winning a #1 contendership match. Little bit there, but the thing is, I'll say this though, next week is a live SmackDown. No spoilers. Perfect time for him to maybe cash it in. I am genuinely excited for next week's main event. Not because of Daniel Bryan, but not because of the fact that it's Daniel Bryan, but because of the fact that this could provide a very shock value moment, for SmackDown on a Tuesday.
Again, this could be interesting because we're not going to know what's going to happen, and this SmackDown, even though it's only really hyped up the main event for next week, not the rest of the show, so we don't really know what to expect. But again, it could be so good to look forward to.
Bryan wins the match. He's the new #1 contender. Okay, so he gets a match with Mark Henry next week in the steel cage. I do wonder what this is going to do for the pay-per-view, though, WWE. Just putting that out there. Why did Randy Orton have to RKO Cody Rhodes at the end of the match? Why? What was the fucking point? Well, just burying him again.
The way I see it, he's got respect for the new #1 contender, and other than that, I don't see why, but I guess it's just respect.
Who knows? Thoughts on this week's SmackDown, then?
I didn't really get into it. The part I got into was seeing Mark Henry able to show his strength by appearing on the show. We had the tag match, because it actually put Ziggler into another long, decent match. It shows that he can do it. The main event was nicely packed. You had numerous you could win in different areas. Yeah. A good, enjoyable match, and I just thought that was good.
It seems like SmackDown to me, it had a very, very good and exciting opener. I like the way how it opened. The main event is a #1 contendership match. I don't like the way how they're not hyping to their pay-per-view like Raw did, but also at the same time, there's bits of pieces of filler which I think are caused by Sin Cara's and Christian's injury, and that's not really helping the show very much to flow. We did have a good tag team match though, which got a lot of time, even though I felt it got a bit too much time. But essentially, it's carrying on a storyline for the US title over a guy like Sheamus, who really does need to have some sort of feud. But SmackDown was a C show, really. It wasn't anything special. It was a good opener, a good ending, and a kind of okay middle, but the rest of it's pretty much filler, in my opinion.
Mine was pretty close to C. I was going to say C minus to Daniel Bryan having 2 shots now, but other than that, those parts I said earlier, I enjoyed.
How much do you want to bet that Daniel Bryan marks give this an A show?
They pretty much will.
Yeah. Anyway, all you Daniel Bryan marks are there, whether you're marks or not, marks of the guy Daniel Bryan who's now the contender. Get your thoughts in that comment section down below, and NJ, do what you do best.
Thank you very much for watching our SmackDown review, and that has been it from the British Fist, Mr. Parkin, and me, NJ. Tune in for Tuesday's SmackDown to see if Daniel Bryan can actually win what he's held so shortly on this SmackDown. That's been it from the British Fist. Goodbye.